Hi, boys and girls. I want to do a quick demo of our lab today. For those of you who, if somebody's absent, you can watch it. And then for Miss Dry's class, because she's out sick today. So I'm going to do a quick demo of the lab, and then you can answer the questions like you would if she were here. So what you should have from the substitute are these questions. Okay, so these are the questions, the reflection questions for the lab. And then you have this data table, okay? And it's just probably, it's this size, so it's small. And you're gonna need to be filling that in, the data table in, while I'm doing the lab. Okay, so make sure you have those two things in front of you right now. Okay, so what I have is, the setup is, this is beaker 1, okay? And you can see it is just an empty beaker and a funnel and filter paper. So think about what you think this filter paper represents, all right? Now, given we're doing the urinary system and you have a particular organ within your urinary system that filters your blood, I think you could hopefully probably figure out what beaker 1 is, all right? And this is beaker 2. And in beaker 2, I am going to add, because it's in the directions, it says 50 milliliters of water. So while I'm doing this, I want you to think about what I am making here that I'm going to pour through the kidney so that it can filter it. So be thinking about that. So 50 milliliters of water, given that this is a beaker, it's not going to be exact because beakers are not for exact measurements, right? That's graduated cylinders. Okay, so I'm going to add water. Now, some red food coloring. I wonder what I'm making. All right, stir that up a little bit. Okay, that's red food coloring. Now, half a teaspoon of cornstarch. And watch what happens. It's not going to be so clear anymore. So I'll stir that up again. Okay, so now that just got kind of murky, right? Murky is like the pond that you jump in and you can't see the bottom. You can't see through it. Okay, it's not very clear. Make sure I get all that cornstarch. There we go. Okay, so now I've added cornstarch. Now I'm adding iodine. Now iodine is what we call an indicator, all right? And what that means is any indicator will change color in the presence of what it's an indicator for, right? Does that make sense? So iodine, which is what this is an indicator for starch. So it starts out kind of a brown color, okay? And then my lab says to put in 5 drops of iodine. So now look what happens to the color. And watch when I stir it up. Oh my. All right. So hopefully you can see that. That is now purple. Okay, so iodine turns purple in the presence of cornstarch. So if you're ever trying to do a lab where you were trying to identify what a white substance is, if you added iodine and it was cornstarch, then it would turn purple. Okay, so then the direction, so look at this again carefully, okay, beaker 2, because you need to make observations on your data table. All right, so the second column in your data table says observations of contents before filtration. So there's beaker 1, it's empty. So just write empty, okay? There's the coffee filter paper. It's clean, there's nothing in it. And then beaker 2, kind of a murky purple color. Okay, so those are the observations that you're putting in the second column, beaker 1, coffee filter paper, beaker 2. Now I'm going to pour this, which, remember, think about what this is representing, all right? Remember, it's a model, so it's not going to be a perfect representation. It's a simulation. I'm going to pour this through and we're going to see what happens. So take a look at what this looks like now. Okay. So it's dripping through the filter paper. I don't want to tip it up yet because I'm going to end up pouring it onto the counter. But you can see it filtering. So again, while you're watching this, I want you to think about, what do you think this filter paper represents? What does this whole setup represent? Okay. And then, oh, you can see the purple a little bit better now because there's some cornstarch left over. So you can see that it's really purple. Okay. So I need to wait for all of this to drain, and it's got a little bit more to go. Excuse me. So what changes are you noticing? So let's see if we can get it up close. Maybe it's hard to see in the camera, but this is much less murky. It's much clearer, okay, than it was initially. It also has much more of a red to it than it was before, okay? And this is almost done filtering because I want you to see what it looks like after. So remember, this is a model, so it's not perfect. But again, think about what you think this filter paper represents. And then you can see that this has much more of a red color now, okay, than it did before. It's much less purple. So where do you think the purple is? Well, it's in the filter paper, okay, which I'm going to show you once it finishes filtering. Come on. I'm going to try to speed up the process. Okay, so let's see. The filter paper looks like, all right, that's not going to work. Let me get a paper towel. Okay, so do you see all that, the purple in there? Okay. So, I just almost poured that onto my new computer. All right, so all that, you can see all of the residue, all right, which in this case is cornstarch, okay? But remember, you're trying to figure out what this filter paper is representing, and now what is all of that residue in there? What is that representing, okay? So now you need to continue to fill out your data table. So you have, excuse me, you need to fill out the first column, contents of urinary organs. So basically, what is in this thing, this urinary organ? First you have to figure out what it is. Beaker 1, coffee filter paper, beaker 2. So what is in it? And now remember, this was empty. Beaker 1 was empty. Observation of contents before filtration. So those were your observations. Okay, really, you can just use sight. Observations of contents after filtration. So now beaker 2 is empty. It's got a little of that purple in it still. Remember the filter paper. And then beaker 1 is much clearer. There's definitely still some cornstarch in there, but then how would that cornstarch get filtered out? Where in our model, I want you to think about what you learned yesterday about how many times blood gets filtered in your urinary system. And then what is the organ that this is representing? Beaker 1, the coffee filter paper, and beaker 2, okay? So when you've watched this video, if you need to go back and revisit any things that I put on there, feel free because it's a video. And now you need to answer these questions. If you have any specific questions about the lab, you can come and ask me in the back of the 7th grade hallway, B113, between classes or e-time or whatever, or go ask Miss Aguirre. Okay, I hope this was helpful, y'all.